Do you have an emotional bond with someone who isn't good for you? Trauma bonding is a term that describes an emotional attachment to an abusive person or organization. Trauma bonds create mental health issues for you, can have negative generational consequences, and you're unlikely to break free from the abusive relationship. In other words, the trauma bond has taken away your ability to evaluate and leave, and it's costing you everything. High-demand religions and abusers go to great lengths to recruit and then enmesh themselves to make a high-control, abusive relationship feel normal. These toxic relationships often have a cycle of abuse and positive reinforcement, where the abuser alternates between high-control, abusive behaviors and then re-recruiting the victim. Here are 7 signs that you are trauma-bonded to another person or organization. Sign 1. You make excuses, minimize, or try to cover up for the abuser's behavior. Especially when the abuser is attacked, the trauma-bonded person will jump to their defense. When they guilt you into doing something, you might say, "They do that for my good." Did they tell a lie? Well, sometimes they stretch the truth a bit. Are they taking more than they give? Well, relationships require sacrifice, don't they? Doesn't he hit you when he's drunk? He has an anger streak, but I sometimes cause it. It seems the more friends and family point out the problems with the abusive person or organization, the more they defend it. Do you defend a toxic person or organization? If so, stick around until the end to learn how to break free from this mind prison. Sign 2. You lie to your friends or family about the abuse or the extent of it. Beyond excuses, you tell outright lies because of your need to defend the abuser. You might defend them out of empathy. They've been kicked around their whole life. You lie for them because you see yourself as a part of their team rather than those who are holding the abuser accountable. It's weird to see it in others, telling lies to defend the indefensible. When you do it, you can feel loyal, like you're giving a victim a break or doing what is expected of a team member. When a toxic church was confronted with a weird belief, they denied ever teaching or believing it because the belief made them look silly. And, like good soldiers, members soon repeated the same lie that the weird doctrine was never taught or believed when they knew it was. Yes, a bad relationship can turn you into a liar. That can lead to the next sign, which is... Sign 3. You feel guilty or ashamed for wanting to leave the abusive relationship. There's a part of you that knows that walking on eggshells around the abuser is not healthy. But when you imagine leaving the relationship, you feel guilty. Why? Because abusers are really good at telling victim stories. One of the ways they trap good, empathetic people is because we care, and we feel for others. Who wants to hurt a hurting person? Yet the victim story wears thin the more you allow yourself to see the control they've got over you because of their victim status. Sign 4. You blame yourself for the abuse or think you deserve it. Abusers love it when you buy their BS and accept responsibility for their actions. The nature of those who tend to abuse is that they cannot accept responsibility for anything, especially their abusive behavior. For this reason, they will go to great lengths to make you think that you caused their anger because you did some minor thing. Or they will point to your emotional reaction to their bad behavior as the problem. In both cases, they are playing a game called blame shifting. Don't fall for it. Sign 5. You have difficulty setting boundaries or saying no to the abuser. Abusers love to push boundaries because of their desire to get as much control as possible. It can be exhausting, setting boundaries and having them tested, and often, you find yourself going along with something that you normally wouldn't allow. Don't beat yourself up. Notice and adjust. That's why you found this video today. Abusers can be like a mosquito diving in for blood, getting swatted away, only to return for more blood when the other person is distracted. Sign 6. You have become isolated from your friends, family, or support network. It can over time, but often when you're in an abusive relationship, you find that once strong relationships have either faded or you've cut them off. Your overly critical partner might smear them so much that you no longer like them. Or your abusive partner got in a fight with your friend or family member, and they made you choose between them or you. Sound familiar? If so, share your thoughts below. Sign 7. You recognize how toxic they can be, but don't want to hurt, abandon, or trigger more anger. In addition to all the other signs, you are starting to recognize the complex set of emotions you have for the abuser. You might feel sorry for them, yet also recognize how toxic they can be. You might see the harm they do to you and others, yet feel that somehow you can help them. That's one of the reasons that you defend them. I walked through a bookstore and saw a book called Walking on Eggshells. I knew immediately that the book was for me, and that it was time to get real about the trauma bond I had with my toxic partner. I defended her, tried to give her the love she never had, and felt guilty about my desire to get out of the relationship. It would take me another year to finally break free of this relationship, but that day, I started to see sign 7. That I understood their toxicity, yet wasn't acting out of guilt, empathy, or a distorted savior complex. Recognizing these 7 signs of being trauma bonded or stuck due to complex emotions is the first step in freeing yourself. Toxic people will take as much as they can from you and ruin your life. If you're seeing the signs, now is the time to see a counselor to unwrap yourself from a relationship that isn't for you. The emotional relationship we have with damaged people can be healed, but denial won't serve you. Now that you know the signs, it's your turn to take action. Thanks for joining us today at the Change Capability Institute, where we build your capability to create your best life.